Hello, thanks for viewing the business process video. I'm Vic Mangonia. I'm the owner and publisher of Tempus IT. Today we're going to take a look at how Tempus can be integrated into your timesheet collection, payroll, and billing processes. Here's a list of the steps in the process that I'll be demonstrating. We've got 6 steps, starting with timesheet submission and approval, and we extend into payroll and billing. One of the things we're going to talk about in step 2 here is client cooperation. That's a subject that staffing firms are particularly interested in, so you'll want to stay tuned for that part. So let's get started with the demo. The business process starts when the consultant submits his timesheet on the web. So we'll take a look at that. We'll log in, see how that works. All we have to do at this point is click the New button. Tempus knows when what the timesheet periods are, so it just presents the next timesheet in this series. We'll enter our time. We'll just go ahead and put in 8 hours for each day. Now, there's a couple of things that I'd like to point out here. The first is the Submit To drop-down list. The Tempus timesheets are submitted by email to the client supervisor. And this box allows the consultant to submit to an alternate supervisor in case the direct supervisor is on vacation or out of the office. These submission options are controlled by you, the staffing company, so the timesheet can be submitted to anyone that you choose. The next item I'd like to show you is the print link. Consultants can print the timesheet at any point in the process. It just opens up a print window and go at it. Okay, so let's close this and we'll kick off the approval email to the supervisor and take a look at how that works in the next section. All right, so step number 2 is timesheet approval. What you're looking at now is a copy of the approval email that the supervisor gets when the consultant closes his timesheet. I'll zoom in on this so you can get a good look at it. Very simple. Basically, the supervisor just clicks the link and the approval form opens up. It's easy to approve it. Put in the password, click approve or disapprove, close it, and you're done. I mentioned in the introduction that we'd talk about client cooperation. Most clients are happy to cooperate with electronic approval. They're high-tech companies. They understand automation. They're certainly willing to participate in this. We analyzed the database a while back to see how many clients actually received electronic submissions over the last, I guess it was 3 years. We found that 84% of the clients cooperated with the electronic submission process. Sometimes they still want the consultant to print and sign a copy for the supervisor. Most of the time the supervisor will sign a copy and pass it along to one of their administrators for the 3-way match when the invoice comes in. That's fine. But if 84% cooperate, what about the other 16%? Well, there's a number of ways we can work around this. Usually the consultant fills out his timesheet online, like everyone else does, and then prints a copy for the supervisor. The approval email can be sent back to someone at the staffing firm instead of the consultant supervisor for approval, or you can just leave it in submitted status. It won't hurt anything. The bottom line is, as I mentioned, there are a number of workarounds for this, and it doesn't slow us down much. Step 3 in the process is monitoring the weekly timesheet submission and approval process. We use the timesheet control query here instead of keeping a checklist next to the fax machine. I'll go ahead and open it up. And we'll enter our dates for the week that we want to monitor. Tempus goes out and looks at the database, looks at all the timesheets that should be submitted, and returns their status. We can see that there are a bunch of them that have not been created for this week. Several of them have been submitted. None of them have been approved. This one is incomplete, which means that the consultant is probably entering his time day by day here and has a couple more days to enter before he actually submits it to his supervisor. The next step in the process is payroll. Because Tempus has all the timesheets in its database, along with the rate of pay for each consultant, we can print a report showing how much each consultant has earned during any time period. Let's go ahead and open up the report. We're going to print this report in Excel format. We're using Excel format, so this information can easily be integrated with your payroll system. So here's the report. I'll zoom in so you can get a better look at it. It shows each consultant, the rate of pay, hours, and gross earnings. And there's nothing extra to do here to get this information. It's just a byproduct of online timesheet submission. Step 5 in the process is the billing report. Go ahead and start to open that up here. We'll get the same period that we had for the payroll report. 2 weeks. And again, we'll export to Excel. The billing report tells us how much to bill each client based on total hours worked and the billing rates for each contract. The concept is very similar to the payroll report. We print in Excel format and use that to export to your billing system. Timesheets on this report are presented in sequence by client to make the process of creating invoices a little bit simpler. You can see that all of the consultants for Ameritron Corporation are presented together here. The last step in the process is to print hard copies of the timesheets to accompany the invoices to the client. Most IT staffing firms send a copy of the timesheet with the invoice, and since all the timesheets are in electronic format, all we have to do is print the timesheets for the period. I'll go ahead and run the timesheet report here. Again, we'll do the same period, so we get the timesheets lined up. And this time we're going to export it in PDF format. The sequence of the timesheets here matches the sequence of the billing report, so you can easily collate the stack and match the timesheets up with your invoice. So that's the Tempus business process. Obviously, lots of variations are possible. Tempus doesn't require that you do it exactly this way. What we've tried to do is support a simple process that will provide helpful information at the key points in the procedures of most staffing firms. And let me point out that we can provide some customization here. If you're locked into certain processes for some reason, as I mentioned before, ask us. We may be able to provide something special for you. Anyway, thanks for viewing today. I invite you to view the other videos and check out the supporting information on the site. And I hope you decide to become a trial user.